Welcome to Families in Faith. We continue looking at Bible stories that appear in most children's Bibles and Sunday school lessons. The idea is to get a better understanding of the details of the story, along with the connections to the larger narrative that is God's story of redemption. After watching the video and reading your own Bible, take the time this week to read this story with your kids. Add the extra details and make the connections between the stories so you and your children start to see how they all fit together. We move from creation and the fall of man to Noah and the ark. It's tough to say exactly how much time passed between Adam and Noah. First, we do not know for sure if the Bible counts Adam's age from his creation or from the expulsion from the garden. Second, we do not know if the genealogy recorded in Genesis chapter 5 is complete. But based on that genealogy, there are 10 generations between Adam and Noah. Adam himself was alive to see 9 of them, which means he saw the result of his sin. Noah was born 126 years after Adam's death. The flood came 1,656 years after Adam was created. Noah was 600 years old when the flood came. It was also the year that Noah's grandfather Methuselah died. Noah's father Lamech died a few years earlier. On to the flood and the ark. After 10 generations, mankind had become so corrupt and sinful that God was ready to pull the plug and reboot his creation. The beginning of Genesis 6 talks about sons of God marrying daughters of men, which might sound like Greek mythology. And while there is no consensus among scholars of who the sons of God might be, generally it is accepted that the verse is referring to the descendants of Seth, Adam and Eve's third son. They were still God-fearing people until they intermarried with the now evil daughters of Cain. This effectively wiped out the last good and righteous people, with the exception of Noah and his family. So God tells Noah to build an ark to save him, his wife, their 3 sons, and their wives, 8 people in total, along with 2 of every kind of animal. But don't forget that on top of 2 of every kind of animal, God required Noah to take 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal and birds. These clean animals and birds would be used for sacrifices to God. Then it rained, 40 days and nights of rain, water from below and water from above, enough water to flood the entire earth and wipe out every living creature save those on the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days until the ark came to rest on a mountain. Then another 2.5 months until the mountaintops became visible. 40 days later, Moses sent out a raven and then a dove. The dove came back, so Noah waited 7 days. Then he sent out the dove again. This time it came back with an olive branch. 7 days later, Noah sent the dove out again, but the dove did not return. Noah then opens the ark and waits almost 2 months before the ground was completely dry. It was 1 year and 10 days from the start of the flood until Noah and his family came off the ark. First thing they do is set up an altar to the Lord and sacrifice some of the clean animals. God then makes a covenant with Noah, marked by the rainbow. God will never again destroy the earth with a flood. This is a covenant that doesn't require anything of man, it's just God's promise. God then instructs Noah and his family that they have full dominion over the earth and all its creatures, meaning they are now allowed to eat meat. So that's the story of Noah. It demonstrates God's wrath and power, how he detests sin and how he wiped out all sinners. But it concludes with his promise to never again take out his full wrath on mankind. God's compassion and love for his creation wins out. We are reminded of that every time we see a rainbow in the sky. So next time you see a rainbow with your kids, remember the story of Noah.